Our final example of this little survey of Hello World programs is a shell script. This is very similar to what we just did with the JavaScript file, but instead of being something that we run using Node at the command line like this, we're going to be able to run the file directly. So let's see how that works. We're going to call it hello. Now this is something that's important with shell scripts. It's generally a good practice not to expose the name of the language being used to write the script. A lot of people do this, but I don't think it's a good idea. And the reason is because the name of the file is the user interface. It's the thing you type. So suppose that you wrote some utility in JavaScript and then later on wanted to rewrite it in a different language, in Ruby or Python or Perl. People using the program shouldn't have to know the language that you're implementing it in. So we're going to start with that practice here in this fourth section and use just the bare hello as the name of our script. And conveniently, that means it's now distinct from hello.js. So let's take a look at this. It's going to be exactly the same. In fact, let's just copy this here. But there's going to be one extra line at the top. So at the top here, we're going to put in what's called the shebang line. I think like shell is maybe where the sh comes from, and then the bang is the exclamation point. It's a common way to pronounce that. And then we're going to put the path to the node executable. Now this is the kind of thing that might vary based on the system. Remember, we can do which node. So which node, there we go, user local bin node. Just highlight that and paste it in. You can type it in if you want. This is the kind of thing that I suggest doing which on your system to get this, this path right. And I'm going to save it. And what I want to do is run this as a script. And the way to do that is to just type the name. If your executable is on what's called a path, which is covered in Learn Enough Text Editor to be dangerous, you can just type it. But in this case, we have to tell the system where the file is because it's not on the path. So we go relative to the current directory and then slash and then the name of the file. So this isn't going to work though. If you've seen this before, this is again covered in Learn Enough Text Editor to be dangerous. You might know why. So this says permission denied. What's going on? Well, the answer is that this shell script has to be what's called executable. There's a little bit of metadata associated with the file. You can even look at it here. You can see this RW, that's read write. This is read, this is read. So I'm going to do this. Change mode plus executable. I'm going to say, all right, you're going to be executable. And now you can see there's an execution bit here, this XXX. So now anybody can execute this thing, including me. So I can do this, /hello, hello world. Look at that. So this has been a nice little, what might be called a breadth first introduction to JavaScript. We've taken this very simple program, this hello world program, and implemented it 4 different ways. And these are really the 4 main ways that JavaScript is used these days in terms of the web page, the REPL, a file that sometimes might be used in other files, and then a script like this, an executable shell script. One of the reasons I like doing this is because when you see the same simple program in these 4 different contexts, it gives you confidence that no matter what you do with JavaScript, you're going to be able to make it useful. You're going to be able to put it on a web page or in a script or in a library that can be reused and so on. This gives us a great foundation for learning more about the JavaScript language itself, which we'll start in the next chapter on strings.